Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Vitamin C Megadose Mirage. Imagine you wake up with that telltale tickle in the back of your throat, the one that whispers, "I'm about to ruin your next 3 days of productivity." Your first instinct is to sprint to the kitchen and dissolve enough vitamin C into a glass of water to turn it into a neon orange sludge that could probably power a small city. We've been told since the dawn of the citrus industry that vitamin C is the impenetrable shield of the immune system. But here's the cold, acidic truth. Your body has the storage capacity of a leaky bucket. Once you hit about 200 to 500 milligrams, your intestines basically put up a no vacancy sign. Anything beyond that, especially those 2,000 milligram immune booster packets, is just a very expensive way to make your urine glow in the dark. Your kidneys, bless their hardworking hearts, have to deal with the fallout of your optimism. When you flood your system with more ascorbic acid than it knows what to do with, your body starts breaking it down into oxalate. If you've never had a kidney stone, imagine trying to pass a jagged, microscopic piece of Lego through a straw that is also on fire. That's the bonus you get for megadosing. You aren't building a fortress. You're just turning your renal system into a high-pressure waste management facility. By the time you're gulping down your fifth supplement of the day, your white blood cells aren't getting stronger. They're just watching the excess nutrients float past them like parade floats they weren't invited to. Basically, you're paying $20 a bottle to give your toilet the most nutritious bath of its life. Number 9. The melatonin overclocking glitch. You're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., counting the individual bumps in the drywall, so you decide to take a 10 milligram melatonin gummy. It's natural, right? It's just the sleep hormone. Well, in the same way that a tidal wave is just water, a 10 milligram dose is an absolute sledgehammer to a delicate biological clock. Your brain naturally produces about 0.3 milligrams of melatonin to signal that it's time to wind down. By taking 30 times that amount, you aren't just inviting sleep, you're screaming at your pineal gland to go into witness protection. Your brain, which is surprisingly petty, looks at this massive influx of external hormones and decides it doesn't need to make its own anymore. It's the physiological equivalent of hiring a professional moving crew to change a light bulb. Eventually, the crew leaves, and you've forgotten how to use a ladder. This is why you wake up the next morning feeling like your head is filled with wet cement and your soul has been replaced by a dial-up modem. Your receptors become desensitized, meaning you need more and more of the stuff, just to reach a baseline level of not screaming into your pillow. You've essentially tricked your internal clock into thinking the sun has exploded and it's midnight. Forever. You aren't curing your insomnia. You're just putting your brain's chemistry in a headlock until it passes out from exhaustion. Number 8. The biotin breakout paradox. Everyone wants that Disney princess hair and nails that could cut glass, so you start popping biotin like they're breath mints. It's the beauty vitamin, after all. But your skin has a very different opinion on the matter. High-dose biotin, often found in those hair, skin, and nails gummies that taste suspiciously like candy, competes for the same absorption pathways as vitamin B5. Now, B5 is the unsung hero that keeps your skin's oil production from turning your face into a slip and slide. When you flood the zone with biotin, B5 gets shoved into the lockers, leaving your oil glands to go absolutely rogue. Suddenly, you're 30 years old with the cystic acne of a Victorian orphan who just discovered Greece. Your hair might look slightly shinier in the 3 seconds before you notice the new constellation of zits on your jawline. It's a classic case of your body being unable to multitask when you're forcing it to prioritize one specific aesthetic goal over basic structural integrity. You're essentially trying to renovate the roof of a house while the basement is flooding, and you're surprised when the foundation starts to crack. Your body is a finely tuned machine, and you've just thrown a handful of beauty gravel into the gears. Congratulations! You have the luscious locks of a stallion and the complexion of a pepperoni pizza. Number 7. The multivitamin security blanket. The multivitamin is the ultimate "I ate a slice of pizza for breakfast" apology. It's a tiny, compressed pellet of guilt management that promises to fill the gaps in your terrible diet. The problem is that many of these vitamins are fat-soluble, meaning they need actual food, specifically healthy fats, to be absorbed. If you're taking your multivitamin with a cup of black coffee and a prayer, those nutrients are just passing through you like tourists on a bus who don't speak the local language. Even worse, The more is better philosophy leads to something called vitamin A toxicity. While your body is pretty good at getting rid of excess B vitamins, it stores vitamin A in your liver like a digital hoarder stores unread emails. Too much of it, and you're looking at bone pain, liver damage, and hair loss, which is the exact opposite of what the bottle promised. You're trying to use a one-size-fits-all solution for a biological system that is as unique as a fingerprint. It's like trying to fix a complex computer glitch by hitting the tower with a bag of random spare parts. You aren't optimizing your health. You're just creating a very expensive, very confusing chemistry experiment inside your small intestine. Number 6. The calcium calcification crisis. We've been conditioned since kindergarten to believe that calcium equals strong bones, so we swallow giant, chalky pills in the hopes of becoming invincible. But calcium is a bit of a loose cannon. Without its chaperone, vitamin K2, calcium doesn't know where to go. Instead of heading to your bones to make them sturdy, it decides to take a detour and hang out in your soft tissues, specifically your arteries. This is called vascular calcification, which is a fancy way of saying your blood vessels are turning into stone pipes. You're trying to prevent osteoporosis, but you're accidentally auditioning for a role as a statue. Your heart has to pump blood through these increasingly rigid tubes, which is about as efficient as trying to blow air through a straw filled with dried cement. It's the ultimate betrayal. You thought you were building a skeleton, but you were actually just hardening your plumbing. Your body isn't a Lego set where you can just add more blocks to make it stronger. It's a delicate ecosystem where every guest needs an escort, and you forgot to hire the security. You're basically turning your cardiovascular system into a geological formation one supplement at a time. Number 5. The detox tea deception. There is no phrase in the English language that carries more biological nonsense than detox. Your body already has a world-class 24/7 detox department called the liver and the kidneys. If they stop working, you don't need a tea. You need an emergency room? Most detox supplements are just overpriced. Glorified laxatives disguised with pretty packaging and the promise of a flat stomach. They work by irritating your colon until it decides to eject everything you've eaten since the mid-90 seconds. This isn't cleansing. It's a coordinated chemical assault on your digestive tract. Along with the toxins, which are never actually named, by the way, you're flushing out vital electrolytes like potassium and sodium. This leaves you dehydrated, cramped, and with a heart rhythm that's about as steady as a jazz drummer on espresso. You're essentially paying a premium to give yourself a mild case of food poisoning in the name of wellness. The only thing these supplements are actually detoxing is your bank account and your gut microbiome. By the time the cleanse is over, your intestines are as barren and lifeless as a desert, and you're left wondering why you feel like you've been hit by a truck. Your body isn't a chimney that needs a sweep. It's a self-cleaning oven, and you're currently spraying it with Windex. Number 4. The iron overload trap. Iron is the heavy metal of the blood, responsible for carrying oxygen and making sure you don't feel like a wilted piece of lettuce by 3 p.m. But iron is also incredibly reactive. Your body has no natural way to get rid of excess iron other than bleeding, which is a bit of a dramatic solution to a dietary problem. When you take iron supplements you don't need, the excess starts to accumulate in your organs, particularly your liver and heart. This creates oxidative stress, which is basically your cells rusting from the inside out. You're trying to boost your energy, but you're actually just accelerating the aging process of your internal hardware. Too much iron can also feed the bad bacteria in your gut, leading to a digestive civil war that usually ends with you doubled over in pain. It's a classic case of the dose makes the poison. You're trying to be the man of steel, but you're actually just turning into a rusty bucket. Unless you're actually anemic, adding more iron to your system is like trying to put more fuel into a tank that's already full. It's just going to spill over and dissolve the paint. Number 3. The magnesium gut punch. Magnesium is the darling of the supplement world right now, promised to fix everything from anxiety to leg cramps. And sure, magnesium is great, but there are about 12 different types, and if you pick the wrong one, your body will let you know in the loudest way possible. If you grab magnesium oxide, the cheapest and most common form, your body can only absorb about 4% of it. The other 96% stays in your intestines, where it draws in water like a sponge. This creates a biological pressure cooker that leads to what scientists and people in public restrooms call osmotic diarrhea. You aren't relaxing your nervous system, you're just giving your bowels a reason to panic. Even the good forms of magnesium can mess with your heart rhythm if you take too much, leading to a sensation that feels like a trapped bird fluttering in your chest. You're trying to find Zen in a capsule, but you've accidentally triggered a code red in your GI tract. It's like trying to soothe a crying baby by playing a heavy metal solo at max volume. The intent was good, but the execution is a disaster. Your nervous system isn't calming down. It's just too busy dealing with the internal flash flood to worry about your work stress. Number 2. The Zinc-Copper Balancing Act. Zinc is the go-to supplement for anyone who feels a sniffle coming on, and for good reason. It helps your immune cells do their jobs. But zinc is also a bit of a bully. It shares the same absorption doorway as copper, and zinc is much better at pushing its way to the front of the line. If you take high-dose zinc for more than a few weeks, you will effectively starve your body of copper. Now, you might think, who cares about copper? I'm not a penny. Well, your body needs copper to make red blood cells and maintain your nervous system. Without it, you end up with zinc-induced copper deficiency, which can lead to permanent nerve damage and a type of anemia that doesn't care how much iron you eat. You're trying to avoid a cold, but you're accidentally giving yourself the neurological profile of someone who's been poisoned in a spy novel. It's the ultimate biological irony. In your quest for peak health, you've created a deficiency in a mineral you didn't even know you needed. You're basically trying to balance a scale by piling bricks on one side and wondering why the whole thing just collapsed. Your immune system isn't a shield you can just polish. It's a delicate web, and you've just walked through it with a leaf blower. Number 1. The herbal natural fallacy. The biggest lie of all is that natural means safe. Arsenic is natural. Lava is natural. A bear eating your face is technically an all-natural experience. When you take herbal supplements like Street John's wort or kava, you aren't just taking a gentle remedy. You're introducing complex plant pharmacology into your system without a prescription. Street John's wort, in particular, is a pharmacological nightmare. It's an enzyme inducer, which means it tells your liver to go into overdrive and chew through other medications as fast as possible. It can render birth control pills useless, make antidepressants dangerously potent, or stop heart medications from working entirely. You think you're just taking a happy herb, but you're actually performing unauthorized surgery on your liver's metabolic pathways. These supplements aren't regulated by the FDA like drugs are, so that bottle of pure herbal bliss might actually be 40% lawn clippings and 60% mystery sawdust. You're playing Russian roulette with your biochemistry because a label used a pretty picture of a leaf. Your body doesn't care if a chemical came from a lab or a forest. It only cares that you've just introduced a chaotic variable into a system that was doing its best to keep you alive. You aren't returning to nature. You're just becoming a very poorly documented case study in herb-induced organ failure. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.